Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition. We turn out to poem 418, Not in This World to See His Face. Now, when this poem was published in 1890, it was actually titled The First Lesson. And some have seen this as Emily as pedagogue or Emily as teacher, suggesting the use of a primer here in this poem. Now, our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net. Down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily is our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've worked through our set of introductory comments as well as the preceding 417 poems. We just finished with 417, It Is Dead, Find It. Now, if you've been doing that reading, you will remember some of these lines that we have already studied that we will come back to. And notice the referencing to face or faces. Do you remember 247? What would I give to see his face? I'd give my life, of course, but that is not enough. Stop, just a minute, let me think. I'd give my biggest bobolink. That makes two, him and life. You know who June is. I'd give her roses a day from Zanzibar, lily tubes like wells, bees by the furlong, straits of blue, navies of butterflies sail through and dappled cows like dells, and of course the rest of that poem. Do you remember when we did 322? There came a day at summer's full entirely for me. I thought that such were for the saints where resurrections be. The sun is common, went abroad, the flowers accustomed to blue, as if no soul the solstice past that maketh all things new. The time was scarce profaned by speech, the symbol of a word was needless, as at sacrament, the wardrobe of our Lord. Each was to each the sealed church, permitted to commune this time, lest we too awkward show at supper of the Lamb. The hours slid fast, as hours will, clutched tight by greedy hands. So faces on two decks, I'm concentrating here on the face, look back, bound to opposing lands. And so when all the time had leaked without external sound, each bound the other's crucifix, we gave no other bond, sufficient troth that we shall rise, deposed at length the grave, to that new marriage justified through Calvaries of love. And you remember when we did 336? The face I carry with me last, when I go out of time to take my rank by in the west, that face shall just be thine. Now, the question of this poem is, who is the him or his that's being addressed? Not in this world to see his face. Are we talking about a lover, or are we talking about deity itself? And as one scholar has pointed out, here we will see Emily wrestling with the terms of her existence. It's a great line. She says it this way: not in this world to see his face sounds long until I read the place where this is said to be, but just the primer to a life unopened, rare, upon the shelf, clasp yet to him and me, and yet my primer suits me so, I would not choose a book to know, than that be sweeter wise. Might someone else so learned be, and leave me just my ABC, himself could have the skies. Now this juxtaposition, it's a question we've seen a number of times of Emily's. Which is better? To be with someone you love or care about in this world, or the promise of some kind of afterlife or heaven in another world? She'll say it this way: not in this world to see his face. Again, who is the his? Are we talking about a lover? Are we talking about deity? And I think that she is making that reference as well to 1 Corinthians 13, a passage, the chapter on love from St. Paul. Verse 12, remember, for now we see as through a glass darkly, but then face to face. I think that's what stands behind this whole poem. Not in this world to see his face sounds long. In other words, that sounds like forever. Until I read the place where this is said to be. We're talking obviously heaven. But just the primer to a life. In other words, earth is just the preparation for heaven. Unopened, rare, upon the shelf. When we get to poem 640, we'll play this game again of the shelf. I cannot live with you. It would be life, and life is over there behind the shelf. This idea of the shelf, right, where the book is placed. Clasp yet to him And me, are we speaking the lover? Are we speaking about God? Notice it is capitalized. And yet, that's the shift. My primer suits me so. Now, what is that? Well, the primer of this life, right? I would not choose a book to know. Are we talking about the Bible here? Some have speculated. Then that be sweeter wise. In other words, earth for her is sweeter than heaven because she can experience it right now. Might someone else so learned be? In other words, I'm going to leave it to people way brighter than me and leave me just my ABC. Himself could have the skies. Do you remember when we did poem 65? I cannot tell you, but you feel it, nor can you tell me. Saints have ravished slate and pencil, solve our April date. You'll remember that poem as we worked through it. What is Emily actually saying in this poem? I think her argument is that for some folks, maybe even her, they prefer this world to the promise of the next because of their lover, their pal. At 2b, well, obviously the question is, who is the one referenced in his phase? At 3, I really do think that 1 Corinthians 13:12 does stand behind this juxtaposition. What is it that we see through a glass darkly, and what is it that we will understand face to face someday? Finally, at 3b, do you have someone in your life that for you, it is heaven on earth to be with your pal? Thank you.